Hello and welcome to another AIC production video with your host Carl. I just actually finished uploading the last video I recorded of my 2.5-3 week update of running my Ethereum mine, and I had some time while I was editing and encoding that video to go ahead and take some time and mess around with my rig to see if I could get that third card running, just to make sure I wasn't having a specific card issue. So I took the card that was sitting in my desk unused and put it into the main slot of the computer and booted it, and it worked fine. So I took the second card that was running in the system that was not plugged into the motherboard directly but was plugged into a riser card and plugged it directly into the motherboard, and it worked just fine, which I thought was strange. So I went ahead and plugged the original card back into the motherboard, and it would not post, would not power on self-test. And we'll pause the story here real quick. This is the error I get. Socket was closed remotely by pool. ETH, job timeout, disconnect, retry in 20 seconds. So that's the error I get. Not quite sure what is causing that. When I looked online, it could either be a network issue with your service provider, and some people recommend rebooting your modem, or it could be a system problem. I'm not quite sure what it is. So if somebody knows what this is and can give me an idea, I was not able to find something while Googling it. Anyways, back to my story, and we're reconnected again. So I'll go down for a little while, get a notification that I'm down, and then it will reconnect, and then I'm back to mining again. Anyways, I only mentioned that just because it came up while I was recording, which of course typically doesn't happen. So I plugged the original card back into the motherboard, and it would not power on self-test. Let me show you that card. Typically, well, here's the card. Let me turn off the monitor just so that we have proper lighting here. So here's the card, GTX 1050 Ti, but I've modified the shroud just a little bit to allow for a cable to fit through. I first was trying to modify it for a USB cable to go through, that's why this hole is here, but the connector on the end would not fit, and I'll show you that here in just a moment. And so I cut all of this out. Normally this all has plastic all the way to the edge of the card there, and I've cut it out, and there's a chance I may have damaged something. Either that, or I've somehow gotten the card too hot, but I don't think so. I've been making sure my temperature stay at or under 70 degrees Celsius. So this card, though, in this computer, will not allow the system to post. I get a beep code for a VGA not present, so that definitely is an issue. So I'm going to go ahead and pause for just a second. I want to show you the inside of my system, and I apologize, it is nighttime, my office is dark, so I'll have to use a flashlight to show you the inside. I'm working on getting some more lights, but for now this is what I have to deal with. So give me just a moment, I'll be right back. Alright, so I've turned the case on its side here, and I wanted to show you kind of how things look. I apologize for my poor cable management. It was a lot neater, but as I've been plugging and unplugging and moving things around, it's gotten quite messy. One of the first things I want to go ahead and do is, somebody mentioned my fans and how they weren't that bad. I'll go ahead and just plug in one fan for right now. And that's just one fan. And especially in the videos, it picks up pretty heavily. So, gotta unplug that. With both of them going, it's really loud. So, here's the first card. It is plugged directly into the motherboard in that 16X PCI Express slot. Here's the second one. I've gone ahead and attached it here, the bottom two most expansion ports locations. It is not connected to the motherboard. directly. It's connected through this USB cable, which goes into one of the 1X ports here. Get a little light on that. Sorry, best light I can do for right now, but you can see it's plugged in there. There is a second expansion. It is behind the video card. So as of right now, I only have one card plugged in. Let me just go over what you get when you use one of these expansions. So this is the actual expansion device, and it connects with a Molex connector. Focus. Does not want to focus, I apologize. Let me zoom out. There we go. So it has a Molex connector and a USB connector there. And they typically come with a set of power to Molex. And then for the USB, it just has this little adapter here that plugs directly into the motherboard. And you plug the USB cable into here, which then goes into this guy. So these are really meant for hanging upside down on a metal rack with the card hanging down, because you get motherboards with multiple slots, so you can hit 4, 6, or even 8 graphics cards on one motherboard. I decided to not go that route because I wanted to have just a normal computer that also happened to mine. I've mentioned that multiple times, but that was my original goal, was just to have a computer I could use for my everyday tasks. So this is just a look of how I currently have it set up. Initially, when I had the cards in here, I just had this on the daughter card upright like this in this location, and I think that's why it was getting too warm, but it was not. It was one of these two cards. I believe it was actually this one that was the one that was upright in here, and it's not having problems. It was this one. And as I was saying, I think in possibly either modifying this, even though I did take it off, modify it and then screw it back on, or in trying to feed this cable through, because what I was actually having to do is feed this cable through the shroud so that it would match up there, because the connector is actually right about here. And so obviously this graphics card is in the way of that other connection. So I'm going to have to figure out what to do with this graphics card. I'm going to try it in another system just to see if it actually is dead. And if it is, then I'm going to make sure there's no obvious physical damage to it that I've done. I'm pretty sure there's not, but there may be. So I'm going to take the shroud off and look. And if there is, I'll just have to bite the bullet and buy another one. If there isn't, I may go ahead and request an RMA on there. So thank you for watching. I'll probably put this video out from this day, a couple days out, just because I did just release another video tonight. But if you have any questions, again, feel free to ask in the comment section down below. I'll do my best to answer those. And yeah, thank you for watching. I really appreciate your guys' support. If you do want to support this channel, I do have, as I've mentioned before, my Amazon partner link in the description below. If you click on that link and buy anything on Amazon, I do get a small kickback from that, which helps me produce these videos. Thanks again for watching, and have an amazing day.